the first message I received from Nobel Foundation was by telephone call. It was around 5 p.m. of October 1st. And actually, people told me something happens maybe before 4 o'clock. So we are completely free out of these things, and we're concentrating with my colleague about our paper, the manuscript editing. And suddenly, my secretary came with some stiff face and opened the door, and you have to take the phone. So I was not so sure what's going on, something bad or good. I took the phone, and the person calling was said, Dr. Palman. So I made it to catch the point, and then I had a very nice and pleasant conversation. But often I heard there's a fake call. And so, of course, he also mentioned, I asked him to send the email to just confirm. And once I received the email, it was real, and so we told everybody in the lab, and of course my family, and I had kind of the good, exciting celebration. The nice picture, and the picture we took then was posted on the website of the Nobel Foundation. So it was a very exciting and a pleasant and unforgettable incidents in my life. There are several reasons. First, I have to decide whether I go to medical school or law school or several other choices. Of course, I went to medical school strongly influenced by my father, and also, the family reason. And secondly, I read the biography of Hideo Noguchi, who was the very interesting doctor who went to the United States in his 20s and became professor in the Rockefeller Institute. And he found the syphilis as a cause of the paralysis, and also he died in Ghana during his study on the yellow fever pathogen. So that was very striking, and I went to medical school. And the other reason, I had a friend, only a father and son, and he died of the stomach cancer, very acute. And I was very much, very sad. And I thought whether I can do anything for this type of the diseases. So cancer immunotherapy has been, idea, has been around many decades before Jim Allison and myself demonstrated in the mouse system. The reason why many people failed one after another is they didn't realize the immune system is already suppressed by the tumor growth. So if you push the accelerator of the immune system while the immune system is under the strong brake, there is no way they can drive the immune system forward. And only the people find the major immune negative regulator, means a brake, that was CTL4 and the PD-1. And Jim Allison first showed CTL4 blockade can cure the cancer in animal model. And soon after we found the we found the PD-1 before, but we demonstrated PD-1 blockade can also cure the cancer. But fortunately, the PD-1 is less toxic, PD-1 blockade and has chronic, and now it's used in a wide spectrum of tumors, starting from melanoma, lung cancer, renal cancer, stomach cancer, many. That's a slightly advantage of the PD-1 over CTL4. CTL4 has a very strong activity and sometimes too strong, also a bit side effect is stronger. I received many prizes, of course, before the Nobel Prize, and this is probably the last prize I get. But I felt when I see the patient and saying they were saved by the therapy we developed. That is the most moving, and also the time I feel my life has some meaning. So that was the very, very, unforgettable and also very touchy, and I feel awarded. I'm not the clinician, but I've involved some clinical trials, and the one lady who had a big tumor, this is an ovarian tumor, and doctor, of course, thought hopeless, but she recovered, and that was almost 5 years ago, and treatment lasted 1 year, and she's still tumor-free and enjoying her life. One time I saw she playing golf, so that was really amazing. And similar story, I play golf myself, and I have a friend who told me this is my last round in my life because I had lung cancer. But I forgot about maybe half a year or so later, he came back, and I just started the treatment you developed, and he just completely cured. It was fantastic. Well, unfortunately, our treatment is still not complete. Only 20 to 30% are responders, and we have a long way to go. But now, this is the just beginning, and many scientists and the industry jumped in. So I hope this therapy will be more widely used and reach to the almost everybody in the world, hopefully by the end of the century, just like the infectious diseases almost completely eradicated during last century. I hope this century will be remembered as the century of the cancer treatment. That's my hope. Yes, I think so. Always, especially in the life science, we don't know exactly where is the best target. Nobody knows which mountain we should climb. We have to try many things. So for that purpose, everybody has to think different idea and have to discussion. So diversity, including everything, gender, nationality, different culture, maybe age. You have some very brave young people, very brave, that's good. And aged people has more experience, and that's very important. Well, to make yourself as a good scientist, I always say, first, you have to have curiosity. If you don't have any curiosity, you better choose something else. And then so to be good scientists, we have to solve something new. So something new, usually not easy, because it's difficult, that's why it remains unknown. So you need enough courage to tackle these difficult problems. And you need courage, and that is a challenge. So challenge with courage. And I call this 3 primary C. And then once you decide to tackle, you have to concentrate and continue, and eventually you build up confidence. So this is another 3C. That's what I tell to my students. I never try to keep my curiosity. It comes from inside. When I learn something new, I always, this is quite interesting, but why? And curiosity is just endless. It comes from inside. Well, there are several levels. As a general science, the first incident, I was enchanted or charmed by the natural science, is the very tiny ring around the Saturn, which I watched through the telescope at the elementary school. That was the first. I got very much interested, want to be astronomer, and I read many books. But then later switched to medicine because I read the biography of Hideo Noguchi. And the second very critical moment may be the time to come back to Japan. So I was another big choice in my life, whether I stay in the United States, keep going. And many people advised to stay, but I decided to go back to Japan. That's 74. That's a kind of turning point. And both cases, I was very fortunate. My decision was correct, but correct because I made something, retrospectively. Well, for my science, I have so many important mentor or advisor. The first mentor, Osamu Hayaishi, who discovered gas oxygen direct incorporation into the organic compounds, gave my solid background in science and also international feeling. I mean, science has to be international. It's not a local thing. And the next person who opened my eye to the molecular immunology is Donald Brown of Carnegie Institution of Washington. And without him, I never go into this particular field. And then I went to Philip Leader's laboratory, where actually I started this antibody diversification. So those three are very important during my scientific career. Well, I didn't have any resistance. Fortunately, my parents are very supportive in a very different, psychologically and financially they support it. And my family, wife and children, I was kind of workaholic. And I don't spend much time with my family. I feel sorry for them, but they just allowed me to concentrate on my research. So I'm very fortunate. So playing golf, I completely forget about science. And I concentrate, but the reason why I like golf game, it's not the competition, it's kind of the fight against yourself. For example, if you hit a bad shot, you get angry, but you get angry against yourself. And always you have to think very carefully, because every time you hit, the ball run into different condition. Sometimes grass thick, sometimes different weather, and you always have to think. But it's a different type of challenge. But I can completely forget about my science, and it's also very enjoyable. For scientific career, I think I made two major contributions. One is I found the molecular mechanism for the antibody diversity, namely antigen-induced antibody diversity, class switch recombination and somatic mutation, and this PD-1 break discovery and its application to cancer immunotherapy. But these days, I'm still working, so I'm very much pleased. My two lines now coming to very close, because cancer immunotherapy depends lots on your gut microbiota. And gut microbiota regulation depends on IgA secretion, and the molecule I discovered for antigen-induced memory, AID, I found another important molecule. And the two molecules collaborate to maintain our gut microbiota. And this is important for homeostasis and also anti-tumor immunity. So that's my scientific contribution. But for the personal life, I had a family and two children. Fortunately, both are doing well. Son is the medical doctor, physician, and daughter is the embryologist working in science field. And what's rest? I also served as administration in the medical school, and I also served as the scientific advisor to the Prime Minister almost 10 years ago. And I don't know whether I made something through this type of the administrative work, but at least I tried to improve scientific environment.